Well, you haven't heard today anybody disputing individual facts that are part of this 30 parts indictment, if you will, that I put together. If the premise of anything isn't right, everything built on it is a bunch of bull. Remember, there are two sides to every story. There's one side to every fact. Now, here is the first claim. Both the Department of Justice and the FBI petitioned the FISA court to begin to surveil a Trump campaign advisor who happened to be Carter Page on October 21st, 2016. Just 2.5 weeks before the election, okay? That is the first point that comes up in the memo. Is that true? Is anyone specifically disputing that claim? Okay? Nobody's questioned that, right? So we got ourselves a fact there. Here's number 2. The second claim, that the application had to be certified by the FBI director or deputy director, the attorney general, the deputy attorney general, or assistant attorney general to the NSA. Is anyone disputing that process? No, that's a fact, right? All those things have to happen. So we know that the Department of Justice and the FBI had to petition. We know that high-ranking officials in both departments had to sign off, right? There is no one that disputes this. Those are facts, okay? Third claim. The initial warrant on Carter Page was issued and renewed 3 times every 90 days. Now, here's the next thing. That takes you through the campaign. That takes you through the election. That takes you through the period in which Trump was president-elect. And it even takes you through the early days as president. Now, is anyone denying that happened? No, right? That's a fact. All 3 of those are facts. Fourth claim in the memo was that FBI Director James Comey signed 3 of the FISA warrants. 3! Anyone? Anyone. James Comey himself denying that happened? Didn't happen, right? So James Comey is a player. Okay. Now we're up to number 5. Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe. Well, he signed one. Huh. All right. That's interesting. Maybe that's why he just got jettisoned, huh? What do you think? So Andrew McCabe. So now let's see. We got the FBI Director. We got the Deputy FBI Director that are players. Anybody disputing that happened? Okay. So we've got Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates. Sally Yates signed at least one. Oh, remember how she pushed back? Remember how she was alleging that it was all wrong, that she was being pushed out of the Trump administration when she got there? Holy cow, right? The 7th claim in the memo, that another Deputy Attorney General, Dana Bonetta, signed at least one. Okay, so now we're at James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Sally Yates, Dana Bonetta. Okay, well, we got a pretty long list of people going here, right? Here's the 8th claim. That Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, that he signed at least one. Oh, and here's a kind of a big one. He's been awfully loud recently, hasn't he? He has really pushed back against this memo being really, I wonder why. But has he or has anyone else denied that he signed at least one of these FISA warrants? No. Nobody disputes it. And here's the 9th claim. That Christopher Steele was an FBI source. So, couple things. We're just establishing the initial players in all this. Players at the highest levels of the Justice Department and the FBI, how they were all involved. Everybody had a hand in this FISA warrant and the renewals of the FISA warrants. They all knew. So, what was the purpose of all this? Where did this all go? What was the basis of these FISA warrants, right? So this is a quote from the memo today. the Steele dossier was essential to the Warren process. Essential. Now, has anybody disputed that? Well, no. Nobody is disputing that the dossier was essential to get the warrant. Okay, so now we got all the players. Now we know that the Steele dossier was all part of it. Okay, so here's the 10th claim. Christopher Steele paid over $160,000 by the DNC and the Clinton campaign to create it via Perkins Coie and Fusion GPS. Oh, that might be information people want to know about. Is anybody disputing any of this? No. Nobody has disputed that Christopher Steele was paid. Nobody is disputing that the DNC and the Clinton campaign were involved. No one is disputing the law firm that was used. No one's disputing that Fusion GPS was involved. So here we are. We're up through the first 10 points in the memo. And there is now one person, not from James Comey, not from Adam Schiff, not Nancy Pelosi, not even Weiner, wherever he is. Nobody has disputed any of this stuff. So how bogus is this? I mean, hold on. If none of this is in dispute, then how can it be bogus? You beginning to see where this is all going? You see how all this week, what have we received? The rhetoric, the attempts to politicize and push back and make you think along partisan lines and to push you into corners so that if you lean left, you're just going to think this is all politics and not to look at the facts in the memo. That was the entire game here. They don't expect you to read. They don't expect you to break out the facts. They just expect you to fall in line. And so now we're up to number 11. The purpose of the Steele dossier was to get, quote, derogatory information on Trump ties to Russia. Nobody has disputed that today. All the noise you hear, who has said, no, Steele dossier was not that. Okay, so now we're up to number 12. The funding of the dossier by the DNC and the Clinton campaign never disclosed to the FISA court. Oh, so now we got all those players, remember? Everybody I just named? They all knew that Christopher Steele was being paid by the DNC and the Clinton campaign to put this together. They all knew what the purpose was, which was to get derogatory information on Trump. And guess what they didn't do? Oh, they never disclosed to the court that information. Huh. Isn't that convenient? Has anybody disputed that? Bueller? Guess not. Huh. Interesting. Next up. The FISA request left the sourcing off of the dossier on that warrant request, despite knowing that it was Fusion GPS. So, they knew that it was this Russian operative organization, and they also left that information off. They simply said that it was being conducted for a private citizen. So, they left every aspect of the information off. Where the money was coming from, who was behind it, the purpose behind it, and also that it had ties to a Russian organization. Huh. Nobody's disputing this. Now we're up to the 15th claim. The FBI authorized an additional payment to Christopher Steele for the dossier. Now think about this for a moment. Every top-level FBI official knew everything about this up to this point. That it was paid for by the DNC, that the fix was in, and they authorized another payment. Now, this was the one that ultimately didn't go through, and why? We'll get to that in just a moment. But again, has anybody disputed that the FBI did not authorize that additional payment? Huh, well, funny. No, not one person has. Just James Comey saying, that's it? That's all you got? 16th claim. On September 23rd of 2016, Yahoo freaking News, Yahoo News, ran a story linking Carter Page to Moscow. And this was ultimately used in the FISA request as a corroborate the evidence. Can you even... Yahoo News! Next up, Christopher Steele leaked the story to Yahoo News. That's in the memo. It's the 17th claim. So hold on. Now we have an FBI informant that's being paid by the DNC and by the Clinton campaign to produce derogatory information that is leaking the story to Yahoo News, that is then used as supporting evidence to the FISA court that is not being told about any of this background information. That's signed off on by top-level officials at the Justice Department and the FBI. 18th claim. The request itself, that Steele was not the source of the Yahoo story. So in the FISA request, what they ended up saying is that Steele was not the person who leaked it to the Yahoo story. Then here's the 19th claim. In a British court, Christopher Steele cited that he was the source of the Yahoo News story. So there's no doubt about that either. Has anybody denied any of this? All right, so now we're up to our 20th claim. The law firm itself, Perkins Coie, that the DNC and the Clinton campaign used to pay for the dossier. Now, nobody is disputing that this law firm was used by the DNC and the Clinton law firm to funnel money to Fusion GPS and to Christopher Steele. Has anybody disputed that today? No? Okay. So now we're up to this one. Steele was suspended and fired after revealing that he was an FBI source to Mother Jones on October 30th of 2016. Has anybody disputed that one? No. So once again, where are we? Two sides to every story, one side to every fact. Remember how this is all a bunch of bull? Nobody has disputed any of these 22 claims yet. So now we're up to this one, number 23. After being fired by the FBI, he maintained contact with the Justice Department and specifically, get this, Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr and senior officials who were direct reports to Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates and later, Rod Rosenstein. So hold on. He gets fired because he reveals himself to Mother Jones while he's leaking information 2 weeks before the election, and the FBI, after they get rid of him, the Justice Department steps in and they become the point of contact. Well, that's interesting. Has anybody disputed that one today? Haven't heard anything. Next claim, number 24. In September of 2016, Christopher Steele told Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr that he was, quote, desperate that Donald Trump not be elected. You remember all this BS about how we were hearing, Christopher Steele, he's a Republican. He just kind of like Robert Mueller, he's a Republican. James Comey, he's a Republican. Remember all these guys? They're all supposed to be Republicans. They don't like Trump. Nope. So, quote, was desperate that Donald Trump not be elected. Has anybody disputed that claim today? Haven't heard anything. Here's number 25. Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr's wife was employed. You ready by this? You can't make this stuff up. Fusion GPS. Here is the Deputy Attorney General, Bruce Orr. Now, he is the guy who is maintaining contact with Christopher Steele after he's been fired by the FBI because he revealed himself as an FBI source while leaking information to Mother Jones 2 weeks before the election. And what happens? Well, we find out that Bruce Orr's wife is also getting paid by Fusion GPS to work on the Christopher Steele Russian dossier. You can't make this stuff up. Out of the 30 claims, we're now up to the 26th. So, Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr, whose wife was employed by Fusion GPS and was in connection with Christopher Steele after Steele was fired from the FBI, actually took information directly from his wife working for Fusion GPS over to the FBI. So get this, the FBI fires Christopher Steele, right? So now Steele doesn't have a connection to the FBI. So what does Bruce Orr do? Well, he takes Steele's information and his wife's information, and he himself walks it over to the FBI. Isn't that convenient? Has anybody disputed this? Next up, the 27th claim, that Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr, that his wife's role was never disclosed to the FISA court. So now we have not only everybody omitted that from Hillary Clinton's campaign to the DNC to Fusion GPS to Christopher Steele to Bruce Orr's wife, nobody involved in the fix was ever disclosed to the FISA court. Next claim. The FBI Counterintelligence Assistant Director, Bill Priestap, cited the dossier investigation as the only infancy stage at the time that they went to the FISA court. So this was not something they ever would have gone to the FISA court with under ordinary circumstances. In its infancy. But why? 2.5 weeks before the election. Again, they petitioned the FISA court on October 21st of 2016. Has anybody disputed that one? Next up, 29th claim. FBI Director James Comey offered a summation of the dossier to President-elect Donald Trump in January of 2017, despite the dossier having been corroborated. Now, why would he do that? You think that he got scared? The fix was in? The president might find out about this once he was inaugurated? So James Comey goes and tries to get ahead of this deal by telling Trump, hey, there's this thing out there. Never mind that he was in on the fix. And here's the 30th claim, that Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe testified in December of 2017 that the warrants for FISA would never have been issued without the dossier. There are two sides to every story. There's one side to every fact. We live in facts. None of those have been disputed. This is Brian Mudd, in for the Great One.